This week I had a conversation with one of my colleagues who teaches middle school orchestra. This colleague of mine was venting to me about some frustrations about students not developing the proper technique, and so when they get into a more advanced classroom, they don't have the skills in place to play the music. And some of the students are getting the techniques and some of them are not getting the techniques. It's just not as consistent all across the board. And one of the things that was pointed out that was very accurate and very important to understand is that the reason why they don't have that technique is because they didn't have to develop that technique. So what do I mean by that? They didn't have to develop the technique. Does that mean that their classroom teacher, their beginning orchestra teacher, wasn't hard enough on them, wasn't strict enough on them, so on and so forth? That's not what I mean at all. Again, if we think about the hierarchy of techniques, yes, we're talking about tone, and we could apply this to intonation, we could apply this to a lot of different things, but if we sit down a classroom of students and talk to them all day long, like I'm talking to you right now, they're going to get very bored very fast. See, hopefully if you're watching this video, you've already developed a love for music, and you want to hear great music, and you want to hear your students play great music, so you're already sold on this idea of orchestra, but not every beginning student is. Their love of music has to be developed over a period of time. So to get them through to the next steps and to convince them that they need to learn those techniques, again, values, establishing their values of why they're doing it this way, that's critical to get them to learn the right techniques. Now, I've never developed a method book before, and I never will. The stuff that I like to do is all rote, and I don't know how I would put that in a method book. That's why I'm making videos instead. I feel that the teacher is the method, not the book. And so I feel like we have to come up with things that are going to help the students that we have in the classroom at that given time to be able to troubleshoot, to be able to diagnose, to fix those problems. And a book is static, it's permanent. It can't change given the dynamic of the classroom. And one of my criticisms of these method books are that they leave out a lot of things that students need to know early on as well. And so we need to be able to create situations in the classroom where students have to use the right technique in order to succeed, or else they cannot complete X, Y, or Z task. A student can go home and they can play grade 1, grade 2, maybe even grade 3 level music, and they just play their part. They say, this sounds great to me, what's the big deal? I can get through all this stuff. They haven't needed to upgrade their technique. There's not that challenge there, so what we need to do is create those challenges so that they have to rise to the occasion. So of course, we really need to get our students to play on the tips of their fingers. We don't want to see them play with flat fingers. We don't want to see them play on the fleshy part of their fingers. We need to see them play on the tips of their fingers. That's very important. We also want to make sure that the students are playing with great left hand shape and they have this natural curve here, because the curve controls the distance from here to here, which is the moment that creates this moment arm to apply force. Of course, the posture needs to be there, the elbow angle needs to be there, or here, depending on if you're a violinist, violist, cello, bass player. And we have to have technique that also is fluid, so we have to create relaxation so that we can move up and down the fingerboard with ease. And we also have to have shoulder rotation so that we can get to all of our strings. Yes, we have to have great technique, but we also have to have opportunities to apply that technique. And we have to come up with situations where if they don't apply the technique, they won't be successful, and that will inspire them to learn it.